5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So if you watched any of my videos in the past, you know that I prep primarily for short, intermediate, and long-term power outages. And that's just due to the primary threat where I live, which is hurricanes. They have a tendency to knock out power. So I want to be able to make sure that I can cook the food that I have on hand, quickly, easily, and without using too much power. Now I will use a generator at times, but I primarily use solar power stations and small appliances, small crock pots, small griddles. Now, generally, these are all small wattage appliances. And what I mean by small wattage is under 500 watts. And the reason I like these small wattage appliances so much is because I can budget the power that I actually use to cook, and I can use that power for other things. So without any further ado, let's get to today's product. Bam! So what we have here is the Sharper Image S'mores Maker. It's meant to make s'mores indoors. It's flameless. And what it is basically is an electrical coil hot plate. Now the difference with this one is the description that I've seen says that it uses 375 watts, which generally your typical hot plate that you use in a dorm or something like that with electrical coil generally utilizes 900 watts and above, usually 11 to 1500. So this is substantially lower, but I'm just curious if that's correct. And if it is, if it creates enough energy and enough heat to actually heat up some of the food that we're going to be cooking. Now we're just going to be cooking out of cans, typical stuff that you would keep around during an emergency. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing out to the bench, unbox it, and we're going to put it through its paces. We're going to see how much energy it uses and see if it in fact can cook some of the emergency food that we keep on hand. So before we head out to the bench, this is a good opportunity for me to ask you to like the video, subscribe to my channel so you know when I have new videos coming out. And as always, most importantly, if somebody you know and or love could use the information provided in this video, please share it with them. And if you have any experience with this or anything like it, or any recommendations for things that you would like me to try, please put it in the comments. So let's go out to the workbench and let's get techie. Okay, let's open this thing up. Okay, so we've got it all set up. It's a plastic, pretty pliable actually, tray, and you're supposed to put your graham crackers or marshmallows, whatever you're going to be cooking in here. And it does have, it's pretty simple, it's basically 3 pieces. There's a little groove where you put the cord through, and then the little legs here go into these little slots on the bottom. That's pretty much all there is to it. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to heat it up. I'm going to use my Opus 1200 here, my favorite portable power station. And this will tell us how much wattage this is actually pulling. We're going to let it heat up for a little while, see how many watts it's pulling, and then we're going to try to heat up some soup on it. So let's go ahead and get it cranked up. We'll power on our power station, turn on our AC power. We're going to plug in. Now this can handle up to 1200 watts. Yeah, I guess I accidentally hit the on button without even knowing it. So it is on. I can feel some heat, and it's pulling a little under 300 watts. It started smoking for some reason. I want my smoke detectors to go off. So it started smoking, and I think it was just burning off any residual oil or protectant on the coil. There's nothing in the instructions telling you to clean it off or anything prior to use. So we're going to let that burn off and heat up, and we'll see where we're at in a minute. Okay, so now that we're over the smoke scare, I wanted to see how this compares to my stovetop. Now my stovetop heats up on medium to about 375 degrees. So let's see. This has been going now for probably about 10 minutes. So let's see how hot this is on the top. Anywhere from 107 on the outside, 110 to 575 in the middle. So let's go ahead, get our soup ready, put it on there. And typically you want to heat up anything that you eat to 165 degrees. That kills off most bacteria. Not all, but most. But the recommendation, the general recommendation for clear soups, we're going to make some chicken noodle. I consider that clear. So we're going to heat that up to about 210 degrees. Hopefully we can get there. We'll find out. We'll set the timer, see how long it takes us. We'll check the wattage real quick. Pulling about 270. It's fluctuating a little bit. It's 267 right now. So it's relatively low wattage for the temperature that we're achieving at the cooking surface. I'm kind of surprised about that, but like I said, let's let it run and see how long it takes us to cook our soup. Okay, so I let it go for about 5 minutes and I wasn't getting any change, very little change in the temperature, like 1 degree of the soup. So that is not very efficient. So what I figured out is this top, as it goes on here, is going to act basically as a heat sink. Your pan or your pot is going to be so far away from the coil, the heating coil, that a lot of the heat's going to dissipate around and through this. So what I did is I took it off, and luckily, as with most times you have an electric coil like this, the mounting brackets here, the outsides of them stand up a little bit over the top of the coil to give it some clearance. So I set this here on that. So it's not sitting directly on the coil. There's about 1/8 of an inch between the heating coil and the bottom of the pot. So that should be a lot more efficient in heating this up. So I'm going to actually start it over the time, because we weren't getting anywhere the other way. So I would not recommend heating anything on this while you have this on there, except for maybe the marshmallows, because that's what it was built for. But we'll check that out later too. All right, let's restart this. And I'm going to add probably 2 minutes onto it because I had it off for about 2 minutes. So I'll add 2 minutes onto the total. All right, let's let this thing heat up and see what we got. Okay, so I left for a little while. I came back. You can see it's been going for, I had 2 minutes of this because I had it on before I started the timer. So it's been about 30 minutes roughly. So we're going to see where we're at. So the temperature varies according to where you are in the pot. But the last reading was 179, but you see the highest is 188.6. That's our max. I'm calling that good enough. I think I could have done better. I used kind of a big pot. When you're dealing with something of relatively low power, you want to be as efficient as possible. So the soup fills approximately 1/4 of this pot. Had I used one of my thinner aluminum camping pots that was a smaller size, I wouldn't have had the heat loss associated with this. So I have no doubt I could have hit 210 degrees easily. I mean, we hit 180 and I had a 190 spike earlier when I was checking it out before I stirred it. So I think this is good enough for me. And like I said, I can maximize that later down the road by using a different cooking utensil. So I think we're good. So I'm going to take this off and I'm going to have it for lunch. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to try to use this for what it was intended for. That was to make s'mores. Now, I don't really like s'mores, not a big graham cracker fan, but I am going to roast some marshmallows on this thing. So let's see if we can do that. Okay, back from lunch. Then get my timer set up. I'm going to see how long it takes to roast a marshmallow on this thing. I saw the reviews and said about 2 minutes. So let's see. Now, one of the benefits from this in the description was that it's stainless steel, so it should be relatively easy to clean up if you drip, your marshmallow on it or whatever. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes. Hopefully you can see that. It did roast a little bit. Maybe a little longer would have been better. Ooh, you can see it's crispy on the outside, pretty gooey. I think that would make a decent s'more. Let's try it. That was actually really good. It was nice and soft in the middle, a little crunchy on the outside. But I like mine burnt. That's the way to roast a marshmallow. 20 seconds. Okay, so in my humble opinion, the Sharper Image S'mores Maker is a winner. So it's really nice because you can actually use this thing. It has some use outside of emergencies, right? You can actually use it inside to roast marshmallows, to make s'mores, you know, put it on the table and stuff for kids. So you can use it during, you know, normal times. And then if you have a power outage or something, it uses under 300 watts, which is really nice. And you could hook it up to a portable power station that you charge via solar. You can hook it up to a small generator. You could even hook it up if you were camping or if in an extreme emergency, if you had a small 500 watt inverter to plug into your cigarette lighter in your car, you can actually run this thing. So yeah, thumbs up for me. I really like it. I will put the links to this, some power stations that I like and I use, as well as an inverter or two. And if you want to roast marshmallows the easy way like I did with a little butane torch, I'll put the link to that below as well. Don't recommend that for kids or anything. It's pretty dangerous. Anyways, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time.